What is up, my brothers and sisters? Welcome back to another Tournament Tactics, where we take a look at the DraftKings Week 18 Sunday slate, main slate, for tournament purposes. And of course, with me, as always, I've got the dream team in place, the quad goat affair, as they say, BobbyWow, aka Bobby Millions. I got Josiah, the tournament leverage master. I've got Burns, aka the Shark Lab. Spent more time studying Millie Maker winning lineups than anyone out there. Incredible article. By the way, the Shark Lab article, if you didn't read it last week, oh my God, what are you, Nostradamus, Burns? How do you know everything?
I think I'm starting to become that way.
It's scary. It's actually frightening. I'm scared of it. But we've got another big one, and I hope you brought your Nostradamus skills for this crazy-ass Week 18 slate where, listen, I did my cheat sheet, and I'm like, I went through the QB position, and I looked at my sheet, and it was blank. I was like, holy shit, I didn't pick one. And then I had to go back and be like, all right, we got to figure this out. So that's what Week 18 looks like. And let's start with the I want to show you guys the game tiles here, okay? There's something really weird about these game tiles. Every single one of them is in red. Where are the high scoring? Excuse me. What happened to the 45? Burns, you said I'm not supposed to play anybody in a Millie Maker. I just want to go back to the Millie Maker rules. I'm not supposed to play anybody with a team total sub 25, correct?
Good
and
luck
no
with that.
game totals under 45.
Not
So
gonna
are we
happen
just
this
skipping
week.
this one? Fuck it. We're not playing.
This. We're gonna have to play it this week, some way, somehow. I don't know.
What is going on here?
Yeah.
What is happening, and why? So here's a big thing about. Obviously, that's the big joke. What's going on here is that it's Week 18, and it's really weird.
Yeah,
and it's weird in a few different ways. Some teams have something to play for. Some teams have nothing to play for. Some teams have reason to rest. Those are the scary teams. Like, I'm cool. You got nothing to play. You're out of the playoffs. All right. You're trying to make the playoffs. I know you're playing. It's the ones that have reason to rest, but won't admit it. Those are the scary ones. I feel like, do you guys remember maybe last year, maybe 2 years ago? I think it was Tom Brady in this week, and they didn't need to play, and they had it locked up. And Tom Brady's like, I don't care, I'm playing. And then they went up and go crazy. And was it last year or 2 years ago?
I don't remember the year,
I thought it was last year.
It was just last
similar
year.
situation again with him. They don't need to play, but he's like, yeah, we're playing.
Yeah, Tom Brady, he's like, I don't care, I want to play.
It's like,
He did it in one half too. That's a scary thing. He put up big numbers in the first half, and then they benched him at some point. I feel like.
Oh, that was last year? You remember it?
I feel like that's what happened. I could be wrong.
Freaking memory is amazing.
Right.
But I don't like playing guys like that. I don't like. Yeah. So we've got a few situations. I wore my Vikings hat in honor of the weirdness of the Vikings situation, guys. What is going on with them? They don't have anything. Nothing. No reason to play. Except like Justin Jefferson chasing history with a record. But I mean, my goodness, you ain't hitting that. He needs 170 yards. You're only hitting that if you play 4 quarters all out to ball out. And why would they do that? Why would you risk your best player? You know, if he needed 40 yards, they'll get it for him in the first half. 200, 170?
Can you imagine he gets hurt? That'd be it. Viking staff would be done.
That would be bad.
And they deserve to be, right? Well, they would deserve to be. So we're going to break this stuff down, guys, but just keep in mind, it's a really weird week for games. Normally, we avoid any kind of game with a sub 45 point total. They all have that, so we're not going to avoid all the games. So now what I want everybody to focus in on are some of the team totals. And those are areas where we might be able to explore. There's only really one team with a good total, but a couple other ones are okay. So the Eagles, must-win situation. The Giants actually want to spoil it for the Eagles, and there is a small chance that a Giants team with nothing to play for will play this out just to screw with the Eagles.
Yep.
Because I feel like the Eagles did this to them a couple years ago with nothing to play for and screwed over the Giants, and now they want revenge.
I'm seeing the Giants are gonna ultimately rest their players, is what I just recently saw.
I think so too.
Okay.
And by the way, Tyrod Taylor's fine anyway. So,
Mhm.
I think you can mess with the Eagles, but have Tyrod Taylor. Because Daniel Jones is a gets hurt guy, too. I especially what he was doing last week. Angry Daniel Jones. Who was that? Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
They're up like 28-3. He's like, I don't give a shit. Let's keep going. That was awesome. They didn't hand it to Barkley at all. Daniel Jones was like, nah, I got this. Coming out party for Daniel Jones. A couple other spots here, though. The 49ers need to win. 26-point total. So that's a game we could take a look at and get some pieces from.
Yeah, but couldn't that change, though, depending on what happens in the early games?
Hang on. Let me tell you what the actual scenario is here. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
49ers. I don't know. I don't actually know. So thanks to an overtime win against the Raiders last week, San Francisco leapfrogged the Vikings and is playing for number 1. And all the perks. They need to beat the Cardinals and an Eagles loss to the Giants. So the Eagles play simultaneous.
Yeah.
They set it up simultaneous, Burns.
Oh, good.
So, of course, if the Eagles are up 28-0 at halftime, there is that, all right, let's pull Christian McCaffrey out of here. So basically the only thing the 49ers are really playing for in this one is if the Eagles lose, they can get the top seed. So they, maybe at halftime, we might get some players pulled. If I'm the 49ers, I'm probably not pulling Brock Purdy. I just want to give him more experience. But I'm pulling Christian McCaffrey
Yeah.
in favor of Elijah Mitchell. I might do that anyway because it's super, super unlikely that the Eagles are going to lose that game. So I think we have to throw a risk factor on Christian McCaffrey because of this. He could be out in the second half, and it's Elijah Mitchell who's coming back. Seattle needs to win their game. There's a scenario that they won't know the answer to, so they're going to go all out to ball out. Chargers don't need to win. They're up against the Broncos. Not a lot of good situations here, guys. So let's scroll down to the QB position. Let's talk about actual quarterbacks that we like. And I'm going to sort the Domination Station Optimizer by projected ownership so that we can get a sense of who the field is on. And you see some weird-ass names in this list, guys. I mean, Andy Dalton is on the list. What? Really? So, Pickett, none of these guys have ever had a good game or rare. So, let's start at the top here, guys. Jalen Hurts, the obvious top play on this slate. He's expensive, but you know what you're going to get with Hurts, and they want to win the game. So, I'll start it. Let's BobbyWow, and we'll go around here. Jalen Hurts, the one concern that you might have with Jalen Hurts, because he's been a beast all year, is just, when a quarterback is coming back from a known injury and they're a running quarterback, sometimes they don't run as much. I don't expect as much running out of Hurts as possible, but I love this game, and this is the game I feel like we should be targeting heavily. What do you say?
Yeah, I think that doesn't factor in a whole lot for me at this point. He's one of the best quarterbacks on the slate, even if you take his legs away, just because of how it shakes out. So I love Hurts. I guess to kind of play devil's advocate with myself, you're right about the legs, but especially if they get out to an early lead. If the Giants sit all their starters and the Eagles go up like 28-0, 31-0, we can only see a half of Jalen Hurts. So all that to say, I like Hurts a lot. I think he's a top 3 quarterback play on the slate.
Little risk there. Little risk of blowout. Josiah, if Giants rest the starters. Although, again, Tyrod Taylor's not that bad. He's not like one of the bad backups. He's one of the better ones. Blowout risk with Hurts. But Hurts is also, even without the legs, like effectively a better quarterback than most of the others on the slate anyway. Yeah. I mean, especially what we see going on here. It's a weird slate. Burns, any thoughts on him as being the top option?
No, I like it. It's him and Allen. That's who I think are your 2 top options on this slate. Everything else looks pretty darn gross.
Yeah, every other player has some serious flaws. So let's talk about Josh Allen and Burns. I'm not sure that the Bills will have that much to be playing for, but I do think that they probably are going to need this win to hold the second seed at the very worst. Like if they lose, they might drop to the 3 seed with the Bengals potentially getting up to number 2. So I think the Bills are playing to win. They're up against the Patriots team that needs to win. But obviously the Bills are better than the Patriots and they're at home. Maybe Allen is the top play. Lower ownership, Burns.
Yeah, it could actually happen. He could get you 30 points on the slate, and he's your nuts quarterback.
He's Josh fucking Allen. By the way, there's a lot of salary savings in other areas that we can get to where, I just want to play the best guys. I think the approach for this slate is just like kind of play people who are good.
Not that they wouldn't play hard anyway, but if you don't think that Bills team is going to come out with a fire under them for Damar Hamlin, that's very real. There's an emotional energy that's at play there that it factors in big time. So I love Allen. I agree with him being the top option.
Yeah, I have the same thought. They're going to play inspired football, especially Damar effectively being okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that rallies the team. What brings people together? Like your petty arguments, everybody throws that shit out. You know what I mean? Like any like frustrations, that stuff goes on a team. It all goes out the window, and you all come together, and it it makes for a pretty special situation. So I think Now, how are we stacking Josh Allen, Josiah?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Diggs, Gabriel, your usual guys can slide in Isaiah McKenzie a little bit there too. I mean, Knox is on the table. Like you guys have said, we know who the guys are on this slate. It's Hurts and Allen, and so the vast majority of my lines are going to have them. I'm going to be trying to focus on like unique combinations and just trying to get a lot of different variations of that.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. So I'm going to tell you guys, it gets ugly from here.
Yeah.
So it gets really ugly. So the next best guy is Joe Burrow because he's Joe Burrow. And, Joe Burrow actually has had a great game against the Ravens. The Ravens have a great rush defense, better than their pass defense. The negative is the Ravens don't really have much to play for, but more importantly, they don't score a lot. Therefore, it's less common for them to be in the kind of a game that puts up big numbers on both sides lately. They've been in these low-scoring stinkers. Burns, Burrow doing it for you? Burrow to Chase?
I mean, after you get past Hurts and Allen, he's like 3, maybe 4. And then from there, it's like a crapshoot who you're going to have after that, right? So it's definitely Burrow at 3 for me this week. And
and talking about the Ravens not scoring well, like Huntley's questionable, so he might not even be out there. So we don't even know who the quarterback might be after that. So it could get ugly real fast. But the Bengals do like to score, and they can just score in bunches too. So like you guys said, definitely the third option for sure.
I don't think it'll be super competitive of a game.
Yeah. And it's expensive to stack him with his guys. So I don't know if you need 2 per se to get there, but it'll be very expensive to have 2 of his wide receivers in this game, especially if you're going with Chase as your number 1.
Absolutely. I totally agree. It's an expensive stack. Burrow is priced up about 1,000 above his sort of traditional salary level on DraftKings for the season as well, which I don't like. He's got 30-point upside in him any given week, but this one, it doesn't make me excited to want to play him. So now that we've gotten through essentially effectively what are the fairly obvious trio of decent plays, and where do we go from here? So let's talk about some of these alt plays. Right up the top of the list here, you got Geno Smith. I think Lockett's going to play, but he hasn't really practiced most of the week. I think Geno is better when he's got a healthy Lockett and Metcalf to throw to. So it's going to be a little bit harder for him to get there, in my opinion. There's another really interesting angle in this game with Noah Fant, no Will Dissly. I really like Noah Fant at tight end with no Will Dissly and really a hobbled, potentially not playing the game Tyler Lockett. But overall, Geno's a meh option for me. Where are you guys going with your next quarterback? So let's just go around the room here. Burns, where are you at? Obviously, I mentioned Geno. We talked about the big three. Where are you at after that trio? Where are you going at quarterback, or are you bothering?
It's almost a non-bother, but I think you might have to go. And this is not even a great play either because of the environment that they're going into. Is Dallas against Washington? In Washington, I mean, they still have something to play for in this game, unless you have notes on that is counter to that. But I'm pretty sure they.
Hang on. I do have notes. I have notes on everything. Hold up. Washington Commanders. I actually do not believe they have much to play for here.
But Dallas does.
Yeah, the Commanders are fully eliminated from the playoffs. So the only thing that they have going on is they're rolling out Sam Howell, and they want to see the youngster perform. And they hate Dallas. And they want to spoil Dallas's. I don't like this scene I don't like it for Dak at all. Dak hasn't produced in great matchups because they lean heavy run.
Yep. But they're going to have a hard time leaning run against Washington, who's a very good run defense.
That's fair. Yeah. So maybe throw a little bit more. BobbyWow, you got anywhere you're going outside of the big three at the quarterback position?
It's so gross. It gets so ugly so fast. Yeah, I mean, Dak, Geno, I think those two guys stand out. Do we go back to Russ?
Oh, man. He's playable against a pretty weak Chargers team. I think so.
Which, by the way, I think he did smash last week, if I remember correctly.
He did. No, that turned out great. Again, right here on Tournament Tactics. Who else was talking about playing Russell Wilson? And then he has a great game. Although I didn't really see a great game from his receivers. He just ran one in.
That was part of the problem.
Yeah, the stack didn't really work, but Russ got there, which was nice.
Yeah.
About freaking time. All right, so I'm going to throw some names out, and I want you guys to give me feedback on these names.
Yeah, I have some too, Geek. Just in case.
Like where are you going first, Josiah, with outside of the big three?
Yeah, outside the big three for me, it's Geno, Brock Purdy, and Joe Flacco. Those are the three other guys I'm going with. Nothing too crazy. Like, I'm still going to focus primarily on Allen and Hurts, but still want to have a little bit of exposure to get weird and make the slate fun for me.
I'm interested in Flacco as well. I really like that spot. It's so strange, but I love the Jets wide receivers now that we have Flacco at the helm. Much better, obviously, than they're underpriced for their role with a mildly competent, NFL backup quarterback playing for them. I just, now Garrett Wilson is interesting. Now Moore and Corey Davis are interesting. Tyler Conklin had his best game with Joe Flacco. So, I'm interested in that. But let's talk about some of these other spots here and some of the weird ones. So, first of all, Kirk Cousins. Can you play Kirk Cousins they have nothing to play for? They haven't said they're resting him as of today. It's Friday. What do you do with it? What do you do with that spot? The other thing is they're up against a Bears team, BobbyWow, that is starting Nathaniel Peterman, and there's no chance this game is going to be competitive. Sorry.
Well, of course. I hope it's not competitive. The Bears better lose this game.
They will lose. Don't worry. They're making sure of it by putting Nate Peterman out there. They have nothing. I feel sorry for Nathaniel Peterman in this game. What is he supposed to do?
I do not care about Peterman, but for me, talking about Kirk Cousins, I think will play a half at most if he plays. And the only thing the Bears have left are studly rookie guys on defense, cornerback, a safety. They've got some decent players on defense, specifically when it comes to their passing defense. And so if there was one spot that might look good with players trying really hard, it's the Bears defense, their secondary. So no thanks for me on Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I think you can't play him. I think you got to that's the running back. Dalvin Cook is going to come up. He's in such a good spot. Oh my God, best spot of the year. But if he doesn't play, or why wouldn't they rest him, Burns? Why wouldn't they?
They need him, that's for sure. And he gets hurt. kind of screws their chances. I mean, they do have Madison, so
can't. I again, they could do it. So Josiah, the same situation. Tom Brady. Can I play Tom Brady?
Like I can't do it. Like they don't have to play. Like they can easily beat these teams in the first quarter in my mind, and not need to play the rest of the game out.
They don't need to play it. And even if
it doesn't
you lose,
always play out that way though. But
Bucks secured the South, second year in a row, locked into the number 4 seed.
Yeah.
They're going to host the Eagles, whoever.
I think they'll win that game. Fun fact, but whatever.
Todd Bowles said that Tom Brady will, quote, at least start against the Falcons with Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask as options. At least start. What does that mean? What are you telling me? I say, listen, here's my thing. It's week 18, and I'm going to do the same philosophical thing I've done every year in week 18 from now, going back 10 years in DFS. These spots, I'm just going to not play them.
Yeah.
And if it burns me, it burns me. I'm just not going to play it. I'm not going to play Dalvin Cook. He's on the chalkboard. I'm not going to play Kirk Cousins. Fuck that. I'm not going to play Brady and his crew because they have nothing to play for, and it would be stupid. And I don't want to support stupid behaviors.
I like that. The one guy I disagree with you on, though, the one guy I'll have some exposure to. I agree with like Cook, all those guys, Brady and his guys, whatever. I do still like Justin Jefferson a little bit, just in case he does try to go and break things up. I don't think he will, but I also have a little bit of exposure to him. The rest of them, though, I'm right there with you on.
Listen, I like the idea of him chasing 170 yards, but really,
yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean? Is he really going to do that?
No, but he could.
We've talked about a lot of QBs we're not playing. Can I float 2 names out to get your thoughts?
Yeah.
And I will be playing these guys.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I have some interest in Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I think he's playing for a new job.
Mm-hmm.
He's looked decent. I'm sure he would love to beat the Seahawks. And I think that game hits the over. So Baker Mayfield has my interest in a big way, especially at his price. No, I don't know.
Sam Howell?
Kenny Pickett's the other guy for me. I know it's gross. It's gross.
I'm not doing that.
He's on top of the world with confidence. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying there's a lot of guys I'm not playing. 2 of the risky shots I'm taking will be Pickett and especially Baker. I think Baker's really intriguing.
I mean, he's had a lot of big games already. They haven't been on the main slate.
Has he scored well, though? Has he put up a number? I mean, the team won a couple games, but Baker Mayfield, I mean, I really like Cam Akers.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. But like Baker Mayfield in his run with the with the Rams, he's peaked at 17 fantasy points. This is not a good spot. He's peaked at 17 fantasy points.
It's a long shot. Look, there's 3 guys to play. There's 3 guys to play this.
They're all gross. Yeah. All right. So let's do. So Bobby, you just gave us your disgusting
Baker's my disgusting.
Your disgusting gross stack, right? Your gross play. And Baker's cheap to, you put him with Van Jefferson or Higbee. So is Sam Howell playable? Howell to Dotson
for Washington.
Yeah. He's got a little athleticism from what I hear. I mean, listen, I really like Dallas defense. Lock that shit in. But I'm just saying, can you play Sam Howell? Like, give me another dirty stack, Burns.
One I'm kind of toying back and forth with it. I mean, it's not even a great play. It's like everything else on this slate, right? But he is a rookie. I am toying with Desmond Ridder this week with Atlanta. Here's the reason why. Tampa Bay has already came out and said that they're benching all of their starting defense. So him and Drake London are rookies. They're going to play the whole game. And he throws 2 touchdowns. Let me pull up what's his salary at. I mean, what is he?
It's
5?
Probably 5K. Yeah, it's not over. He's just getting it's 4,900. He's actually sub 5K. They priced him effectively as a backup.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's gross.
I don't know. Outside of the 3 that we've already talked about, and potentially a fourth with Dak, everyone else is not even like a guy you would ever want to play on any other main slate.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Ellinger.
It's kind of how I'm looking at it. Like maybe Ritter goes off for 17 and he gets you 4x and it keeps you in chances. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like shit.
I don't like any of this shit. I mean, Josh Allen is on the slate, guys. Let's be real. Okay? Josh Allen's on the fucking slate. When has he scored less than 25, 28 fantasy? He always gets you there.
I do think the Pickett call from BobbyWow was pretty interesting, though, just because I just found that one interesting. I think that stands out a little bit. I want to dig into it a little bit more myself, but I think that's an interesting call.
They got to win, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Steelers are playing a win for sure. What about, no one said Deshaun Watson. No,
he's not really playing for a job. I mean, they gave him like 200 plus million.
Exactly. So he's just playing because they don't like the Steelers / to knock the dust off. I love that people are talking about Stidham, even though he's on the Saturday slate.
One other guy.
Stidham would be one of the better plays on this entire slate. I would be excited about playing Stidham on Sunday. It's Saturday.
I wish DraftKings included the Green Bay game.
Oh yeah,
like FanDuel did. So if you're playing FanDuel, that is on the main slate of games. Yeah.
So at least not that Rodgers is such an exciting play, but like, all right.
Sure the hell beats the ones that were thrown out.
and by the way, I do think that the Lions have no reason to rest anyone, so they're going to play that game out. And now, their pieces would be interesting as well. But we don't have that luxury. We got to work.
Not on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, you do.
Making the cheat sheet this week was really bizarre. I almost included Sam Darnold and Josiah. I can't believe you're not saying Sam Darnold.
No, I'm done. I'm done playing those guys for a while. But they're out this season. They're done. I mean, he's playing for a job. I mean, he needs to play for a job. So I mean, I guess there's that argument to be had. But I'm over that.
One more guy, and maybe you already said him, but really surprised we haven't talked much about Mac Jones.
Yeah,
5K, starting quarterback, lot to play for. Has had at least a season game this season. He's kind of under the radar. Like he feels interesting. I think that game could end up hitting the over as well with the Bills coming out on fire. Mac Jones is gonna have to throw the football. They have to win. Kind of like it.
That's a really interesting. I like that one. I mean, I don't normally play Mac Jones.
No, I don't either. Never. But maybe.
Yeah. But for 5K, by the way, this is a slate where we might not see a quarterback. And here's what's interesting about the slate as a whole. And I think you know where I'm going with this, BobbyWow. We might not see any quarterback score 25 fantasy points. Yeah. We could go an entire slate and no one put up 25. So the 20 you get out of Mac Jones or 19, that's why you got to mix it up. That's why you got to mix it up. It's very, very possible. None of them score 25.
Yeah.
And then that's where these shitters come into play. Listen, we know we're talking about shitty names that we would never think about even considering on a main slate. But when you remove Kirk Cousins and Tom Brady and a bunch of these names from consideration, and then NFL pulls all the good quarterbacks away, and we got to make do. We play it. We play what's given to us. So let's talk running backs now, guys. And I'm going to do the old sort by ownership, and let's see what the running back position is presenting here on the optimizer. And Tyler Algier is the number 2. Oh, that's interesting. Running back's really weird.
Yep.
So Christian McCaffrey, 26%. And we already talked about there is a real scenario where McCaffrey's just pulled at halftime. By the way, this is the Cardinals rolling out, QB3. I can't even remember the guy's name right now. It's not a good scene. They should dominate the shit out of these guys. Tyler Algier, the number 2, because the expectation is the Bucs will roll out. I do not like that. Tyler Algier is very much touchdown dependent, but I think if I remember correctly, yeah, Caleb Huntley, or there was a third running back that is now on IR for the Falcons, and they just have him and Cordero Patterson. And the thought is probably like, why? What do you need to know what you're having to Cordero? He's 33. Like, maybe Algier let the youngster, get a big running game. So that's really weird. Dalvin Cook still showing up on the chalkboard, even though I think this is a dangerous play. Where are we going at running back? And I'll start with you, Josiah. Like, where are we going at running back this week? What are we doing? You're on mute. Little technical difficulties. Unmute.
I know, right? At least for me, with Christian McCaffrey, I like him here in this spot. I know he might not play the full game, but hopefully he does enough damage where he has enough raw points on this slate where we might not get a lot of points in general. Algier and the rest of them, I'm not really a fan of. I think I'll fade that spot. But in Cook too, I'm not going to play him in this spot. But I'm more open to like the Kenneth Walkers and Cam Akers of the world.
It's tricky. BobbyWow, how are you looking at the running back position as a totality?
Yeah, I think I'm with Josiah for the most part. You got to get a spread this week. I usually like to keep my running back pool really concise. I think the more I look at it, the more I want to spread it out, just because there's so many potential situations at play. And again, same thing with the running back position as the quarterback position. We don't necessarily need a 25 or 30 point performance for somebody to be in the nuts. And to the same degree, we don't necessarily need a 15 point performance from someone closer to min price for them to make the nuts. So to me, you have to expand what you typically do in terms of your running back player pool this week.
Hey, members of the body is getting crazy with it, with Kelly and Mitchell, but I get it. Again, can't get excited about Austin Eckler, but maybe Kelly gets the run. I'm looking at some names here. So a couple of interesting ones, and I think this ownership will change significantly as the day, as we get into Saturday and approaching Sunday. And by the way, for everybody watching, you're watching, of course, Tournament Tactics with the DFS Army GOAT crew, breaking down the Sunday NFL Week 18 crazy ass last week of the season main slate. Jonathan Williams popping up. So I don't even know what team Jonathan Williams is on.
Washington Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. He was taking touches. I'm not going there. Commanders have nothing to rest for. Be careful with teams that have nothing to rest for. They'll play their main guys. But I love Cam Akers.
Yeah, but Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson are both out.
Wait, Brian Robinson is out?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh.
That's why Jonathan Williams is starting to come into the fray a little bit.
Wow. Okay, that is different. Hold up. Wait a minute. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
4,300. There's your guy. I don't care. I mean, this is a terrible matchup and all of that, but who cares? This is a $4,300 running back.
It was pronounced 30 minutes ago. Brian Robinson ruled out by underdog.
I did not even see it. So there we go. That is big. Now we've got Jonathan Williams. I was going to talk about Zach Moss, who, why not? Like he got all the touches last week. Okay, fine by me. Hold on. I just went full screen and it weirded me out. Okay. Yeah. I was going to talk about Zach Moss, but all right. Jonathan Williams now on the list. I like that. So Najee Harris, interesting. The Browns are really bad against running backs this season. The Steelers need to win. How are the Steelers? If you're the Steelers, BobbyWow, what are you doing? You're like, hey, we got to win this game. You talk about Kenny Pickett, but they're trying to win the game. And they don't win when Kenny Pickett's throwing a lot. They win when Najee Harris is doing his thing.
That's the truth. Yeah, you're leaning on Najee. Whether or not he can perform, that's the question. But he's going to get extended looks.
I just remembered something for the audience. Guys, we're 40 likes away. We're 40 subscriptions away from 10K on the DFS Army YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Get on your wife's account and subscribe. I don't care what you do. We need 40. It's a big thing this year. Trying to get to 10,000 subscriptions. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Subscribe, not notify. I don't care. Just subscribe. Do us a solid. All right, so we talked about Jonathan Williams. We talked about Najee Harris. Algier. You like Algier, Burns? I mean, is that playable? He's going to be pretty chalky. I think against the backups for the Bucks, I think you got to play him.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have him in your mix, right? Whether or not, I don't think you have to be field weight. You can be under field weight, but he should be a part of your player pool. But yeah.
Totally Not FBI is making it clear that Howell and Dotson are his guys, so that if they perform, he can come back in the Discord and be like, I told you about Howell and Dotson. I like it. And by the way, when I see that shit, I'm like, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it just in case. Because if I hear it, I'm going to be like, guess what? When you said it, I played it. That way I got exposure. So how about Miles Sanders? Josiah, this seems like a tournament leverage play off of Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I get it. It's still not my favorite spot. I'm not taking that shot. For me, I don't like the matchup against the Giants. Miles Sanders hasn't done much this year. I've taken my shots. I'm not taking this one.
You know who reminds me of Miles Sanders this year, but not really. I actually no. There's some reminiscence, but not really the same. Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon seems like the type. So in my notes about Joe Mixon, I said, he's burned you the last 4 weeks, but if you look 5 weeks back, he put up a 50.
Yeah.
And that's Joe Mixon. You're either not getting any kind of value and your lineup is ruined, or you didn't play him, you didn't win. Does he have? I mean, the Ravens matchup is not the best for opposing running backs. Let's be real. They're better versus the run than the pass. But should we ignore that and just, hey, Mixon got 9 targets last week and, he's on the field? Or, I mean, should we ignore it, Burns?
I mean, I don't know. He's still too expensive for me. Like, I like him in the 6s.
Yeah,
when he's in the 7s, when he's in the 7s, he's a little too pricey for me in terms of his role and how. I mean, he's still going to split with Samaje. Don't get it wrong. He's still going to split. So, I don't know. I might be off of him, or I might be lower than the field on him.
I'm not going there with Jaylen Warren. You don't want the backups on teams that need to win. That's not a way to go. You can get a starting running back for that price. With Warren.
Nobody's talking about in a game that his team needs to win, and the team isn't all that great against the run, is Ramondre Stevenson.
Yes, but there's a reason no one's
Snacks
talking
is
about
back, right?
Yeah, Snacks Harris is back, but
Snacks literally split last week. Take a look at this. It's a bad scene. You don't want. That's the problem, right? Like when Ramondre was. Look at the rush percentage. Perfect split. And even they were targeting Damian Harris. Like Damian Harris was in the game in red zone carries.
Yeah.
Goal line carries. I get it with Ramondre, but I think he needs to be he's way overpriced for me for the split role. He's priced like the starter. But yes, but priced like a starter. I think the guy might be Kenny Walker.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
like him.
Walker.
There we go. We get some nods. So
everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me, BobbyWow. Like, I think
he'll have the Q tag too, which is always a win. If you're playing somebody, people get scared of him. Look, the Seahawks, they got to win this game. Kenny Walker's been a beast. He's been a volume beast. And again, I think they're going to have to lean on him here. So he's too cheap. He's one of my top 3 running backs this week. And so, yeah, totally agree, Geek. I love him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest matchup, of course, against the Rams. Rams are a little better versus the run in the pass, et cetera, et cetera. But who cares? The Jets are really good against the run, and this guy dominated them. I think, just a side note on Kenny Walker, but as far as I think this is important to comprehend. Like next year, when you're drafting your fantasy team, Kenny Walker is going in the first round. Yeah. Like, readjust your mind. This guy will go ahead of Joe Mixon. He will be a first round pick, probably towards the end of round 1, right? He'll be in the top 6 of running backs that you're taking. So he's a real stud that we don't really think of as a stud yet because this was his first year. And you're like, I never heard of him before 6 weeks ago. It doesn't matter. He's going to be a stud. So he is. He's a really talented running back, which I don't normally put a lot of weight into. I know people are going to think, I don't really. It's just opportunity and situation that I care about with running back. But he's an actual talented running back. So we talked about some of the names we like, and let's kind of go over this and see who we left out. And I want to go around because I'm seeing names on the chalkboard that I'm just not touching, and I want to go through those. And you guys, if you disagree with this, please just stop me and tell me. So I'm not touching Dalvin Cook. Nothing to play for, right? And I think by Sunday he won't have ownership. People will be like, he's not going to play.
He usually stinks even when he has every reason to play.
Yeah, but this is the really bad version of the Bears. Like this would be a spot where I would play him as a core if he needed to. Because it's the Bears with Peterman and effectively, I think the Vikings are going to have the ball at the goal line the whole game. Like red zone is just going to be on the Vikings the whole fucking night. Like, oh yeah, it's going to be whoever their third string running back is. Like, could it play Madison? Can I play Madison? Burns, is Alexander Madison the sneaky best play on this entire slate?
I mean, if they don't play Cook or they play him very sparingly in the first quarter and say, well, yeah, you're done now, Madison's going to take the lead role. So they're very similar of a running back, but Madison I like Madison out of the backfield a little bit more than Cook even because of the pass catching ability that he has. So yeah, I don't mind that at all. I actually like it. It's a good pivot.
Was that a you call, Geek? Was that you thinking Madison, or was that a Burns call? I was just trying to
he's on my list.
The right person.
That was Geek, and he was coming to me to confirm his
Burns if he
suspicions.
Yeah, like it's like we're talking about Dalvin Cook, but really, if Dalvin Cook's not going to play, but it's a legit question because they might actually go to the third string guy. They might say, "Oh no, we can't risk Madison either. He's too important. We're going to roll out like, the third stringer, who I don't know who it is. It used to be like Mike Boone.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
gross. Whoever their Mike Boone version is. So let's keep on this topic, guys. Kamara.
Not for me.
No one even wants to talk about Kamara. Like,
if he was lower owned, I could try to find a reason for it, but he has close to the same ownership as guys like Kenneth Walker and Cam Akers, who I like a lot more. So it's just hard for me to make a case for him.
Yeah, and like I said, I think a lot of these running backs will go down. Running backs in the Lions game.
Why is Tony Pollard so low owned?
He's talking about the Lions game because it's actually on the
the FanDuel slate includes it. Yes, I do like those guys, right? Yeah, I definitely like the Lions running, especially Swift. Like he came off the big game. Not just Swift, like the other dude, but Swift I think is probably the best one. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's probably Swift.
CJ Ham.
Ham is the third stringer. Yeah, so I mean, I don't think I can go there. Saquon Barkley, no. Latz Murray, no. Montgomery, hell no.
Wait, hold on.
I knew that was coming.
This has nothing to do. This is mostly nothing to do with me being a Bears fan. Right? David Montgomery this is his final year with the Bears. Okay, they're not going to re-sign him. He wants to put on a show for Chicago, and he wants to put on a show for the next team looking to lock him up. I don't think he's a bad play. It's possible the Bears could go to Herbert and some of these other guys, but Ryan Poles is known for setting his guys up for success on the way out. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Montgomery put on a show. I know it's bleak, but you don't have Justin Fields vulturing the rushes. I'm just saying there is a case to be made. Don't uncheck David Montgomery, Geek. That's all I'm saying.
All right, listen, I'll accept it. A BobbyWow recommendation. That is always good. That's why I need you to tell me these things.
The other guy is Tony Pollard. Did we talk about him? Did I miss that?
No, he's really not showing. He's $7K, very expensive for a guy who was Zeke out. Like, why would I play Pollard at $7K?
Because the Cowboys need Pollard at $7K. So I don't know. Again, he's one of those guys that you get 15% ownership, you'll triple up the field, and he's got a ceiling. I mean, a guy like him could be the highest scorer on the slate. So just weird to see him at 2% ownership, projected ownership.
Yeah, I think it's probably appropriate though, relatively speaking. if he's splitting with Zeke, if the Cowboys might rest in the second half, and he's $7K for a. I just wouldn't pay $7K for Pollard. I think it's too much for a halftime running back. It's a weird slate. Again, it stays weird because, all right, I don't want to pay that, but like, who else are you going to play? I don't know. So we're going to have to get that figured out. But like, these other guys aren't like the expensive. Let's just sort by salary. And like I said, McCaffrey, big question marks. Eckler, very dangerous to play. Barkley is a hell no. Chubb is a probably not. I don't want to play Chubb. Dalvin Cook might not play much. Joe Mixon, okay, but
might not need him.
Yeah, might not need him. So like, we're already past the expensive zone. Like there's no safety in paying up here. As a matter of fact, like I said, I really like the idea of paying down, which brings us with the Jonathan Williams and the Zach Mosses of the world. By the way, Zach Moss got the full workload. He's going up against. We didn't talk about it, but Zach Moss got the full work. The Cam Akers. These are all yardage and touchdown backs. Super scary this week. But like, look at Cam Akers. Look at Zach Moss, yardage and touchdowns. But I mean, he's up against Houston. They suck against the run. So the Colts just lean heavy on the running game, and Zach Moss scores a touchdown. Yes. Remember, this is why you got to hit the like button, guys. Burns gave you Ayuk last week.
Great call.
What a call. And by the way, I smashed a love on Ayuk because Burns said it. Worked out. So with all of the salary savings we're going to get from paying down at running back for these 6,500 and below guys, or even going all the way down to Jonathan Williams, who, by the way, I had on some dynasty teams. Like I drafted in dynasty like 4 years ago. Just keeping it real. That dude disappeared. I dropped him. Took to week 18, 4 years into his career, but now he makes an appearance.
He's back.
I went to my dynasty teams like, it doesn't matter. Season's over. Can't play him. Can't play him this week. But let's talk about these wide receivers. So let's go. I'm going expensive and down. Start with Justin Jefferson. Danger of not playing.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill. Hell no. I ain't playing anybody tied to Skylar Thompson. Fuck that. Right? We ain't playing that.
Yep.
If you had season-long fantasy football in week 19 and you're like, hey, should I play Tyreek Hill or Zay Jones? Zay Jones. Ask the Bishop about Reek.
Hell no. To the no.
He agrees. No Tyreek. Jamar Chase, I think, is playable.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb is playable. AJ Brown, yes. Stephon Diggs, hell yes, right? So to get into these names, and I want to understand like your approaches, guys, to creating lineups and making tournament entries. If you know that you're loading up on Hurts, Josh Allen, and Burrow as your top three quarterbacks, and now we're looking at Chase, Brown, Diggs, and Higgins, should I not just line up each of these with their respective quarterback and avoid them with not their quarterback and just like approach the slate that way? As an MME approach, a mass multi-entering, or I'm handcrafting lineups. I know in handcraft, that's how it's going to go. Unless you think, and BobbyWow, you're saying no, so I want to kind of like understand what you mean. Unless you're saying like, yeah, you probably don't want Chase in your Josh Allen lineup, but maybe in your Sam Howell lineup, it's okay. I mean, what are you thinking with this?
No, I definitely will get a spread of these guys. I'll get them with the quarterback, without the quarterback. At some point, Geek, you're going to have to pay up. Okay, you're paying down a running back quite a bit.
So you think maybe you might be getting two of these in a lineup anyway. So
I think so. I really think so. And again, when you narrow it down, there's really not all that many options that can put up a big game in a week like this. So I have no issues whatsoever having a couple different, expensive wide receivers spread across all my lineups, not just with their QB.
Yeah, I'm not really a big rules guy in general, so I don't like the least amount of rules I can make, the better. So unless there's like a situation that I'm really trying to avoid, I usually don't do it.
That's fair. Burns, thoughts on that topic?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have these guys spread out a lot because of the fact that there's just slate breaking guys, and they're with the three quarterbacks that can actually produce fantasy relevant points this week, whereas everybody else is with quarterbacks where we're kind of very skeptical about actually having as quarterbacks. So yeah, these are guys that you probably need to have stacked with your quarterbacks and not stacked with your quarterbacks too.
In the first
Yeah.
half, I love it.
John wants Jefferson to hit that record in the first half and then rest.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm with you guys. Now, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, I want all the pieces. I want all the exposure to that game that I can kind of get, just because that team's going all out to ball out. It's really hard to get Smith and AJ Brown in the same lineup together. I don't really have, I'm always going to prefer AJ Brown because I think he's the slightly more touchdown scoring player, but either one of them is fine. I also had a note about Higgins and Chase in my notes this week that effectively said, I kind of think with both Brown and Smith and Chase and Higgins, there's a decent shot that like one, at least one of those guys for each team is going to smash and have the big game. You know what I mean? And it's probably a really good chance that if you try to get one of those two in most of your lineups, you can. It's a little expensive, but if you try to get like just mixing up those four guys and just kind of letting it flow, that you're going to hit the right combination of two of them every once in a while. Like that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I agree with you. My preference is AJ Brown, but I'll have a mixture of both.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit of Quez. You can't forget about Quez.
No, can't forget about Quez.
Don't forget about DK Metcalf either.
DK Metcalf, I love. Good bring
Very
up
good.
there. I love DK. DK is one of my favorites. But let's eliminate a couple of names here.
Okay.
Mike Evans, no. Jalen Waddle, no. Godwin, no. Keenan Allen, no. Brandon Ayuk is a little pricey.
Not this week.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel's back, so
I'm not into it at all. Yeah, he's too expensive. And against a non-competitive opponent, I don't like that. But DK Metcalf, yes, please. Now, DK, so Tyler Lockett's got a Q-Tech. As of yesterday, he had not practiced this week. I think he's probably going to play. Do we think he's going to play, guys?
I think so. But I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I think he'll play.
Yeah, he hadn't practiced, though. So
I like the price of DK. It's just so nice. 6,700. He's usually about 500 more, which makes him a little bit more difficult to put into your lineups. But yeah, 6,700 is just a really great spot for him. I love the salary.
the matchup, it's hard to run on the Rams. They're a better team to throw on.
Actually, to tell you the truth, I love the skinny stack with Kenny Walker and DK this week because Rams are actually a perceived really good defense against the run, but they suck out of the backfield against pass catching running backs. And Kenny Walker can get there too. He's a good pass catching back.
Yeah, I'm probably avoiding. I don't. When you say skinny stack, you're avoiding Geno in that one and just doing those two guys, which I really like. Yeah, I don't love
what you could do with like a Josh Allen. If you went Josh Allen and you had Diggs, right, and then you went with the skinny stack of Kenny Walker and DK, so that's your secondary stack in the lineup. That's a skinny stack, so it's nice.
You can do so much when you you can do so much when you have these pay down options at running back, the Jonathan Williams, the Zach Mosses, all those 6K guys. So yeah, that could really work. I love it. I love DK Metcalf. Good call. So let's continue working our way down though. Mike Williams, no. Jerry Jeudy, all right. This, and then we get to a weird zone here. So just looking at these, QBs, can I, Terry McLaurin with the rookie, Deebo Samuel, 6K. I don't mind it. Actually, I like his price.
Yep.
Amari Cooper can get it done. They're playing all out to ball out. Pittman, no. Moore, maybe. Yeah, I would say yes to Moore, yes to Jeudy. Olave, I don't like at this price point. And then we get to my boy, G Wizzles. Garrett Wilson with Joe Flacco, a.k.a. LaFlacco.
We haven't gotten to tight ends, but didn't Flacco and Conklin have a nice little connection in the earlier part of the year?
That's when he went crazy, and hell yes. So a lot of these plays on the Jets are actually going to be really good values. I'm sorry, I know I'm Mr. Jets. It's like Bobby. They look at me like when you talk about the Bears.
It might be worse with you, honestly.
Is it? Is it annoying?
This
Well,
year,
Mike
this
White
year's been
stands.
worse.
Where Joe Flacco stands. This is getting out of hand, Geek.
Oh man, I don't care.
I'm just kidding.
I do what I do. So I like it. I like the Flacco and the Jets wide receivers. They're playing to win. What do they have? What do they have to lose? You know, like they ain't got shit. They ain't got nothing to lose. Palmer, no. Gabriel Davis, yes. You know, Gabriel Davis's game it's coming.
It's coming. It is coming.
The
Sure
two
is.
touchdown game, I promise you, it's coming.
Yeah, he had
Might
a
not
good
be
one
good.
not too long ago, right? He had a good one.
Yeah, had a couple early in the season, then he kind of disappeared. But he gets targeted in the red zone / end zone all the time. And I see it, I'm like, and then he drops it or like, but the targets are there.
Yeah.
And like the big game is just it's kind of like what happened with Mike Evans last week, in the sense that like you watch the games and Evans is dropping like easy 70-yard touchdown. That's happened like 4 times this year. And you're like, you know, that weird at some point when that stops happening and he catches that pass, he's going to go crazy. And that's what happened. Mike Evans, thank you for helping me to a fantasy championship. Mike Evans, by the way, carried my team with Derrick Henry on the bench, which was very nice last week. So I think Gabriel Davis has that game coming. Marquise Brown is a no. Deontay Johnson. So I'm in this zone here. I feel like you guys, especially just, I feel like you guys like Drake London.
I think I mentioned Drake London last week. I don't love him as much this week, but if I'm playing the quarterback from the Falcons, then I'm totally fine with it. So I'm sure Burns probably likes it.
I mean, that's the only stacking partner with Ritter, right?
Mhm.
So that would be the only way I'd go. He's cheap enough where he's probably going to, and he's got value. So he's probably going to filter into your lineups this week too with the DS.
Let's look at some of these names that are getting ownership.
Yeah. What about Deontay Johnson? A question for you, BobbyWow. I know like Johnson has 10% ownership. I know Pickens was a little bit more popular earlier this year. It looks like he won't be as popular as Johnson. Do you have a preference there? Or no?
I like those 3 guys in a row. I like Johnson. I like Jacoby Myers a lot. I'm selling myself on the Mac Jones thing, so beware. But and I think that's a good call, Josiah. George Pickens, I mean, this is a must-win for Pickett. I think he's going to go where he feels comfortable. It wouldn't surprise me to see Pickens at least outscore Johnson. So I don't mind all 3 of these guys, but Jacoby Myers is really intriguing for me.
Pickens could be, I feel like we'll get fewer targets, but the touchdown might be what he delivers, right? Like he seems more like he's so good. I don't understand why they don't throw to him more. Like he's so good at football.
Sad.
They need to be throwing to him more often. Let me just roll through here and so Garrett Wilson, 19%. So we're not being that sneaky.
Whew.
What?
It's a lot.
Wow.
And this was there before freaking Mike White was even ruled out. Like, what? Are you serious? All right.
I mean, the Dolphins haven't been great, but they've been better against receivers, but not quarterbacks. So I guess that's why.
Yeah, they play man. They play a lot of man coverage. I actually think Wilson has one of the worst. So, Burns, you do the matchups. Wilson going to see Howard a lot here.
Give me a sec. Where is he at here?
But they play man. I
got
never
him
worry
against
about it too much.
I do not have him against Howard. I have Corey Davis against Howard.
Yeah, so that is a good spot for Garrett Wilson. That is a good scene if it does play out that way, which we never really truly know. Looking for some more high owned guys. So yeah, Drake London, 14% owned. There you go. So that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. I have nothing to say, but that's kind of weird. Like, really? I'm not playing.
Like that's part of why I wasn't really on him. Like, oh, he's popular. I can't. That's
yeah, I don't want that. I wasn't looking at the ownership. I was like, I don't like it. I don't like him high owned at all. This keeps just reverting back up, but I'm just trying to scroll down here. Rashid Shaheed, he's been decent, I guess. Rashid Shaheed's like a 4 to 5 targets guy. He was a great bargain when we kind of discovered him at 3K, and now at 4,200, I don't know if I love Shaheed as much as we did the last few weeks.
No, not with Dalton throwing him the football. But look, I think Michael Gallup is the sneakiest wide receiver on the slate.
Ooh, okay.
I like that.
He is. I mean, this is as low as I've ever seen him priced. Not that he should be priced way higher, but look, his upside of 4,100 is solid, and he did score a touchdown against Washington earlier this season. So I think Gallup is really, really sneaky here.
Any other sneaky spots, guys? Well, what about Greg Dortch? Could we go back to Greg Dortch here with I can't remember who's quarterbacking for them at this point, but
David Blow.
Yeah, David Blow. But Dortch got 10 targets again last week. I know it failed, but he got a lot of target. Like, we played him last week. Right? We're like, oh, play Dortch. Okay.
Yeah, Greg Dortch.
He got 10 targets. Like, at 3K, he got 10 targets. Now you might say, well, he only got a 5 Geek. You suck. You told me to play Greg Dortch. And okay, opinions. But you give me a 3K player that gets 10 targets, and I say thank you. That was a good call. You know what I mean? Like, oh, wow, he was 3K and he got 10 targets. Nice job. Sucks that he only got a 5.
That's real. That's real.
You had to try hard to get only 5 fantasy points with 10 targets, catching 4 of them. Literally, that means he got no yardage. None. How bad is Blow?
He's
not good.
He's bad. He was the Lions' third string quarterback when they absolutely stunk. So
I remember that. He had one okay game where he put up an 18. What
about Tutu? Oh, go ahead.
No, Tutu. Well, if you like, you know what? If you like Baker Mayfield, maybe Tutu.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought process.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, these are really shitty choices, guys.
Tutu. Look at him last week. 28% target share.
5
targets, but
he did worse than Dortch.
Oh man.
Tutu is the ultimate fool's gold. I don't feel like you should be playing Tutu at all here. The dude is like 5'6". Do you understand? If you put me out on a football field and I'm 5'7", I wouldn't even be able to see a football because there's giant men standing all over the place like that. They obscure your vision when you're short. There's big people.
Baker stacks. I'm not going to be.
You know who else
much
is too short for the NFL? Baker.
What the heck? You know what? I forgot. You are a hater.
Get short people.
He's too short for the NFL. He can't see over the lineman. And now he's got a little tiny wide receiver. If you're tiny and your wide receiver is small, how the hell could you even get? You don't know where he is. You can't see
That's
him.
what they said about Rex Grossman, Geek, and he was the best Bears QB of all time. Took him to the Super Bowl.
We just lost those 40 subscribers you needed because they're offended.
Accuse of giving out plays that it wouldn't play. And then you talk about Rex Grossman and you make them right. All right. I'm not a fan of the tall, actually.
Jeez. Now we've alienated everybody.
In real life, like in person, I'm not a big fan of the tall. I have a little discrimination because I don't, if you're like 6'3" or taller, we can't be friends.
Can't be tall, can't be short. God.
I don't know. I like the short. The shorter you are, the more friendly I want to be in real life. But you get a little past, you get a certain height, I'm out on the friendship. Me and my college crew, it's like a bunch of Tyrion Lannisters all walking around like, "What's up, bitch?" Little teeny, all overcompensating. Like every one of them is like working out and pumped up like a lunatic. That's what it looked like. Let's talk about the cheapies on the Patriots because I think we skipped some really important.
I can see you like walking around with a ukulele. Oh my God.
There was no ukulele. It was just like a bunch of like Guido looking like, people from Gold's Gym that all are height challenged. 5'10" and below. That's how we did it. You get a tall in your group, it makes everybody else look small. and it
Not
ruins
wrong.
the vibe. All right, Elijah Moore, 3K. I mean, there's a bunch of 3K wide receivers. Somebody mentioned Tyquan Thornton. I like Tyquan.
The problem is all the Patriots wide receivers are back. Jacoby's back. Devontae Parker's back. A little bit tougher for him to score well, but he was great last week.
Yeah, I don't know how to really choose. Let's take a look at and see if we could figure something out here with New England. I'm not sure we can. Kendrick Bourne always seems to come through at the right time. Yeah, and it's those guys.
Jeez.
Tyquan Thornton 90. Look at this. Okay, hold up.
Uh-oh.
Jacoby Myers 81%. Tyquan Thornton 93%. Has Tyquan elevated himself to the WR1?
Whoa.
The Patriots?
Wow.
Maybe.
Myers got a couple more targets last week.
Is Thornton a touchdown guy? Can he find the end zone? I haven't looked.
I mean, he can, and more so, they use him in end arounds. They use him in some other kind of plays that he's a speedster. So they use him in the end around, a couple other plays that they don't use like Myers for example. We got Kendrick Bourne as your like go deep and we'll just throw it to you deep guy. Tyquan, you've got Myers kind of playing the poor man's Julian Edelman role slot, and then Thornton, he's got sort of the intermediate role. He's got the deep ball. He's got the speedster role. He's doing the end arounds.
We're really selling Jacoby Myers short here. I feel like that was
Jacoby Myers is a yeoman like guy, right? Like he gets the targets.
He's got the better matchup.
Good matchup.
I'm not really sure if I want to go against Tre'Davious White with Thornton.
I said he gets end arounds, and I was wrong. He got him week 6. So I guess I was remembering back to that. That hasn't happened since then, so I don't want to be incorrect about that. Only 3 touchdowns on the year, but you know what? He hasn't been much of a involved player up until the last few weeks. Listen, he's 3K. What are we talking about here? A fucking prayer.
He's a punt. Yeah,
we're talking about prayers here. So who do you like in the cheap zone, guys?
I got one. He actually saw 6 targets in their first game against Washington. Is Noah Brown.
Oh boy. So we went there with Michael Gallup and Noah Brown.
And Noah Brown did see some nice connectivity with Dak, even though he only got a few targets this past week. But let me pull him up. He got 4 targets last week. He just didn't produce with it. He's pretty much his lowest salary has been since week 1. Week 1 he was 3,000. Now he's 3,300.
Yeah, I don't mind that in your mix at all. By the way, it was just like 3 weeks ago that Noah Brown was like targeted 16 times in a game, just randomly for no real clear reason, but just out of nowhere. Remember that game? It was just like Brown, what again? Brown. So I like it. Couple cheapy punts that you guys have brought up. How about I'll bring up another one here, Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah, I remember I mentioned him earlier, and Quez Watkins. Those are like the 2 guys for me that could go a little overlooked.
I think another guy that's going overlooked and he could see some run in this game is KJ Osborne.
You think he's in the game with the backup quarterback at some point?
I mean, he's their WR3, so they're going to if they bench anybody, it's Chase or JJ and Thielen. So
yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, it's not how. Yeah, it's.
He's like less than 1% owned right now.
Yeah, it's such a tough way to attack a slate, like guessing on these third stringers that will stay in games that the team. I find that I'm not that good at guessing those situations, Burns. Like that's I want to accept the things that I'm not good. I'm not that good at guessing those situations at all. That's why even Madison, I'm kind of like, you guess Madison and then it's ham.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, like for me, I like to take shots. It's just like 5%. Like it's not like a 30-40% shot because I'm not that great at it. But I can do like a 5 or 10% shot, 5 to 10% shot on like 2 or 3 of these guys down here, and that's enough for me to usually do the job.
I just sorted all the wide receivers by projected ownership just to see. And what? This is just so bizarre. Tutu Atwell is on the top screen with Greg Dortch. And Rashid Shaheed is like at the top of it, and Drake London. What? I think, you know what I'm doing this week, guys? I just figured it out. I'm setting the Dom station to 50% max ownership.
Yeah, I think that's
And I'm just getting different. I mean, like, what? This is absolutely absurd. Tyreek Hill getting 8%. I don't believe these numbers are going to hold. We're going to find out more. Teams are going to be like, no, we're not playing these guys. But Tyreek Hill, it's known that Skylar Thompson is the quarterback for Miami, and he's showing up with a 8.5% ownership projection. I can't accept it. Somebody mentioned Olave. Olave hasn't even come close to delivering value against this $6K salary pretty much all year. I don't like it either. I think I'm going to have a really tight core player pool this week and just going to mix in a lot of this shit that we've talked about.
Yep.
I'm just scrolling down here, and like Isaiah McKenzie, my Isaiah McKenzie point, Bob, to come back, or Josiah, to come back to what you were saying before, was in the showdown last week, we were like rolling 30-40% Isaiah McKenzie. You know what I mean? Because it's a showdown. Thinking every once in a while this kid pops off and he averages 4 to 5 targets most weeks anyway. But, you know, maybe he could pop off for one of those big games. He gets them once every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So for that, we're rolling 30% on this guy. But like on a main slate, we're going to leave him. He's attached to Josh Allen, one of the 2 or 3 quarterbacks and offenses that we're interested in at all. And we're going to leave him for 2 or 3% owned. That doesn't really click for me. I'd rather play him than Dortch or who the hell else was the highest owned guy, right? I'm going to, Shaheed. Shaheed gets the same number of targets, but it's from Andy Dalton. Why is Tutu Atwell even in the conversation? Like, I'd rather play McKenzie than Tutu Atwell, as much as BobbyWow loves Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
I don't care about the Mayfield component of it, but like he's throwing it to Higbee if he's throwing it. Like he's not throwing it to Tutu. Unlikely to. So I don't know. Pretty weird. Let's talk a little tight end. Tim F is going to roll some double TE lineups out there, and I don't blame you. I don't think you want to get too restrictive about what you're doing in the flex this week. Again, this is bizarre. I like Mark Andrews a little bit. Yeah. I have a thought about Mark Andrews, guys. So here's my thought.
Ooh.
The Ravens are playing the Bengals. The Bengals are likely to score. Now, of course, the Ravens, they want to win the guy. Something to play for is questionable, right? Not really sure. But do we think if playoff berth has been granted, regardless, they're locking a 6 seed, even if they lose, the Ravens could still win the North. If they win, no. Actually, unmotivated. No.
Yeah.
No, there was they needed the fact that the previous game was canceled actually kills it. So they have nothing to play for. So, but you guys gave me the thing. So are we saying with the Ravens that we don't think they're going to play their starters and that Mark Andrews will rest this game?
I don't know about that, but I don't know who his quarterback's going to be. And so if he's going to be 14% owned and it could be some third string scrub, I'm not trying to chase that.
By the way, I'm straight shocked that he's going to be 14% on. I thought it was like...
Yeah, hopefully that changes a bit slower than I like Mark Andrews. Like, I think the spot's fine, but just the ownership kills it for me.
BobbyWow, is he going to play? What's the story?
I don't know. I don't like guessing about that. And frankly, Mark Andrews has been on my season long and has stunk. So he's given me no reason to trust him, even when he's starting and playing the whole game. So I won't have much. I'll be underweight.
Yeah.
Burns?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'll probably be underweight here.
Yeah.
I just don't like the matchup. Cincinnati's really good against tight ends.
Yeah, I just think my original thought was if the Ravens are playing the game to win, they're not going to be able to lean heavy on the run because the Bengals are playing them. So they're going to have to throw more. And when they throw, they tend to only throw to Mark Andrews because they have nobody else that can catch a pass. So that was sort of but I cannot believe that he's going to be at the top of the ownership chart. This is just shocking. So I don't like that. So let's talk about players that, Dallas Goedert, I think is good.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Of course, again, we want all the pieces of that Eagles offense that we can get. Tyler Higbee, BobbyWow. Seattle's not very good against the tight end position. They are the worst team.
Higbee's a great play.
I like it. George Kittle has his best games of the season when Deebo Samuel is out. He's in, so a little bit sketchier than usual. At 6K, I don't know how excited I am about it. Josiah, you into Kittle at all?
Yeah, I mean, I like Purdy today. This week, so I'll have some
They need to win.
exposure.
Yeah. Burns, what does the Shark Lab say about tight end this week? Is there any clarity that you can give us?
Yeah, favorites in really good matchups with the tight ends, and preferably home if you can get them there. So, of course, Dallas Goedert, Freiermuth. I do like, where is he? Dalton Schultz. Even though he's on the road, I do like him here.
Always love Schultz. Always.
I like Hayden Hurst, even though it's a tougher matchup. I do like it. I do like Tyler Conklin as a lower owned guy this week, because Miami is so bad against the tight end position, and he had that connection with Flacco, but don't go overboard with it. And then I think you need to get some exposure to Dawson Knox as well. I think he's in and around about 1 to 3% owned right now. So, yeah, you got to get him.
Again, piece of a game. I couldn't agree more. Piece of a game that you just want a piece of. So Knox is a cheap entry point into exposure to that game. Josiah, where are you going at tight end this week?
Following Burns' lead.
That's the right call. And BobbyWow, any thoughts at the tight end position?
Yeah, I think for the most part, following Burns' lead as well. Cade Otton keeps popping up for me. He's kind of intriguing. Cameron Brate was a healthy scratch last week. I think Cade plays through the game. I think we see him play pretty much the entire game. And so he's kind of my intriguing punt, I guess you could say. But overall, following exactly what Burns said.
Yeah, I'm pretty well on board as well. I really love Dalton Schultz. I just always like Dalton Schultz with he gets 10 targets. Like, he's a guy that can pop for 10 targets at times, and so great. Why not? Hunter Henry's really interesting on the Patriots as well. Hunter Henry will get you a tournament win every once in a while with his score. He just does. There's no Jonnu Smith. He's out. So you get sort of Hunter Henry at least getting all of the looks. Must-win game for the Patriots. Why not? Pay up options. I don't like Freiermuth being the most expensive the most owned tight end. That kind of freaks me out a little bit. Like,
that's scary.
Scary. Well, he's the chalk. But and you guys convinced me on Andrews. I'm fine with fuck it. Fade that shit. I'm fine with it. Goddard, Higbee, Seattle's really bad against tight ends, even though they stopped Higbee the last time they played. And they're like one of the worst teams against the tight end. The worst team against tight end, of course, the Cardinals on the season. I'm just worried about with the Cardinals. I'm concerned about just the blowout of the century, where I'm just concerned about the San Francisco offense. In fairness, I don't think San Francisco is going to need to do anything. I don't think the Cardinals have any hope of making this a competitive game.
Yeah,
it's not like Studham last week. Like, I don't give them any hope. And that's really my thing. Like, how much San Francisco do I really want? David Njoku, fine. Okay. And the one guy, yeah, Noah Fant down here that is not going to show up in many lineups if you don't force it. But like I said before, anytime I can get a piece of, it's been Disley and Fant that have been splitting it, and that made it gross. Let me just go to the matchup sheet. But I feel like if he gets the Disley targets and Tyler Lockett's kind of dinged up, so where is that game? Tyler Lockett's kind of dinged up, so you don't expect to see too much from him. Oh, it's Parkinson. Son of a bitch. Colby fucking Parkinson.
My.
Can I tell you that the Dom Station was throwing Colby Parkinson into lineups for me, and I unfriended him last week? I was like, who the hell's this? And I just unfriended it.
I hate when that happens so much.
Yeah. And then I saw him I'm like, they're throwing a Colby? Throwing a who? Colby got the touchdown? Really? 25% target share last week.
Geek, come on. When someone starts talking to you on a burning bush, you can't grab the fire extinguisher. Put that thing out. Jesus knows best.
That is true. You got to listen.
That's why you got to set the global.
I just thought it was popping turds in my lineups because I'd, made 50,000 rules by the time it was, Sunday at 1:00. I was like, the rules list was so long. I needed to store it on my Microsoft Drive because the file was so big. I'm like, all right, I think I made one too many rules. I'm getting Colby Parkinson in lineups here. I got to uncheck that guy. No, look at that. 80% of the stat. I did not look at this prior.
Yeah, just set your global max at 30%. Let her rip.
Yeah, that's probably what to do.
One other guy, just super punt, kind of like the Kate Oaten play. I like targeting tight ends who have rookie quarterbacks. Logan Thomas, they're going to need to throw the football. Washington is. He's had 15 targets over the last 2 games. Howell's going to need a safety valve. I think Logan Thomas could be that guy. So just another punt to check.
I'm good with that. I'm totally good with that. By the way, BobbyWow, what's going on with your internet today?
Is it bad?
Yeah, it's been like, and even on the previous show, like a little weaker than usual.
The blurry burns. That's not good.
I didn't notice that until right now.
Yeah. It's interesting. Well, we did a players club earlier. By the way, DFS Army, if you guys are hanging with us this late in the podcast, we did a players club 2-game breakdown, VIP only, me and BobbyWow earlier today. Make sure you check that out. So I've got a domination station set up as part of it. We went through the whole slate, NFL Week 10. I love it. I love a 2-gamer. Love it more than anything. Love it more than this one. No, I'm keeping it real. Not for individually crafting a lineup because it's really hard to make one, but I like MMEing those kind of slates.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah, it's really hard to craft just one in that kind of thing. But check that out. It's posted, and that was the breakdown for Saturday as well. So make sure you guys have checked that out. That's subscriber only. So obviously check out that bad boy. Yeah, Bobby Million pinching on we got to get you the Verizon Fios 2-way. The one gig. At one point I called the cable company and I was like, because my cable was having issues with all the streaming, and I was like, I don't just get me. What is your best plan? And stop fucking around with me. Just put that shit over here. Put it in, and just whatever it is. Oh, you don't need it. Just give it to me.
Yeah, I updated to the gig, and now I'm on like some fucking platinum status with
you.
them.
Are like coming through clear. The sound is crisp.
I don't know, but I'm platinum status with my internet provider now because I went to 1 gig. They're like, "Yeah, man, you're the bee's knees." Like,
all right,
okay.
So this is a great question, Shock. Number one, and we can get to this because we'll talk defense. I've got 3 defenses that I love, but I'm going to get to this real quick. So you don't have to go and stop playing DFS when football ends. I get it. We all love football, but NASCAR is awesome. NASCAR, if you're subscribed to DFS Army, is probably the most fun sport that you can play. I think it's an awesome sweat. You're in first place, you're in last place, you're in first place again, like 6 times over the course of a race. Effectively, you have like 7 chances to win the whole thing, and then you go from up 100,000 to losing 500. on the last lap. It's glorious. Every once in a while, it works the opposite. And that is your best chance of taking tournaments down because our team for NASCAR is by far superior to anything else that exists in the industry. But I also love MMA.
Yeah, I love
MMA.
UFC.
It's a fun sport to watch, a super fun sport. You got Burns is in the MMA room, Josiah's in there.
Every
Not so
Saturday.
much BobbyWow in the MMA room, but got to bring you over. BobbyWow don't like the violence.
How's the new rules treating us?
I have not had a chance to play it much.
Okay. I know Kyle's in here, so I was just wondering how the new rules are treating everybody.
I have not had a chance to do the late swapping thing, but I think if you're watching and you're paying attention, it's probably good. I was messing with a little bit in one. Yeah. See, Mr. 5 Cent, like it works. Sometimes it works in your favor. That's why NASCAR is so awesome. So I would say if you're an NFL person, the other thing is you're probably not Mr. I want to grind out DFS every single night. So NBA is less appealing and MLB is maybe less appealing because those are every night, not do a lot of research kind of sports. Josiah don't like that. He's like, I love NBA. I get it. Well, you just follow Josiah. But if he's asking, I'm saying he's probably not playing NBA. I play NBA too.
Yeah, we've been on a little bit of a good streak going from like a profitability standpoint. So yeah, the NBA is pretty awesome, but it can be a bit of a grind. So
we leveled our projection model up for NBA massively in the last week.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Wins are flying all over the place. It's been crazy. It's been amazing, actually. I'm like, holy shit. The first night where we revamped the model, I was testing it. So I just ran the top 3 optimals for FanDuel and just threw it in. I wanted to see if the upload was working, to be quite honest. I was just testing it. Then I go back at the end of the night. I'm like, oh, I finished, 36th, 120th. Like I finished out of 16K. I was like, holy shit. With the top optimal, that's never supposed to happen. Crushed it. That was Saturday.
But football season's not over yet. There's still the playoffs.
We got the playoffs. We got a whole nother month. But yeah, we keep it going. Some people go to esports.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so Josiah loves it. Yeah, that's right. Some people go to esports. I don't know if I'm gonna. I got into esports for a couple of years, like League, DFS, and Advantage is awesome. I mean, he just won the championship. He's incredible.
When's it kick back up again?
Yeah, and starting to pick back up, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if esports gets me addicted to attacking big tournaments and
yeah, hockey too. Like I've been hitting up hockey a lot. It's good. It's a lot like baseball. So if you like stacking and correlating your stacks and like 4-2, 5-1 stacks, 3-3s.
Let's jump into the final position group, guys. Defense. I've got 3 that I love, and then I'm just going to go from there. So I'll give you my 3. There obviously other people love them too because they're popping at the top of the list here, sorted by ownership. But I think 49ers at home must-win game, worth paying up for. I think Vikings, you borderline just make them a core at 2,900 and just put them in as many lineups as possible. Jets against Skylar Thompson, very much in play. So what I'm going to ask you for, so I'm seeing some other defenses. So outside of those 3, and they're very obvious, like of course 49ers up against no quarterback, blow at home. What more can you ask for? I know what more you can ask for. Vikings against Peterman, even though the Vikings are playing their backups, it's Peterman. BobbyWow, does that upset you?
No, not at all. I am praying for a loss.
There it is. I love it. You're doing the right thing. And then the Jets against Skylar Thompson. Rookie quarterbacks, let's target them. So Burns, what is the Shark Lab saying outside of those very, very obvious and clearly the highest projected owned top 3 defenses this week? Do I even need to go past the Vikings?
Yes. Don't just put all your eggs in one basket and think that it's going to just magically happen, even though they're going up against Peterman. Things can happen in the NFL, and we've seen it happen many, many times. So don't put all your eggs in one basket and go 100% on the Vikings. I mean, let's just put it in perspective. Houston at 2,700 is going up against Sam Ehlinger with Indianapolis. And Houston actually gets pressures on the quarterback, and they do and have had a good amount of interceptions this year. So no, I'm not putting all my eggs in the Minnesota basket. I'm actually going to have ownership across the board. So
okay, yeah, there's a lot of these weird situations. By the way, I want to address Adolfo's asked a couple questions about Dom stage. Number one, we ain't talking PGA here, but
That's another good one.
You don't really get too crazy with the rules other than max limits and multiple uniques for PGA, but for NFL DFS, yes. So I recommend that you watch the Players Club breakdown for the 2-game slate and join our Discord. That's very, very important, where we talk about strategies for different size slates, how to set up the optimizer. We've back tested multiple scenarios. So specific rules that you want to do. I'm not going to go through it here in this context, but it's something that we do on the Players Club, the VIP podcast, where we talk about how to set up the Dom station. I've done pretty much most weeks of the season. Member only Dom station setup live streams where we set it up together, run lineups together, answer questions, show you how to set up the stacks, get the correlation going. So I strongly recommend making sure that you're in our Discord if you're subscribed to DFS Army and you're in the premium channels, which you're entitled to as a DFS Army subscriber, and that you're paying attention when we put out the those videos breaking down and live streams and whatnot, setting up the Dom station. So I wanted to cover that for Adolfo there. So Falcons against the backups for the Bucks. Broncos against maybe the backups for the Chargers. Texans. Bills maybe. Josiah, anybody I'm missing here?
Yeah, I like the guys you mentioned, Vikings and crew, but like tight end and defense, I really always turn to Burns. So boring answer, but it's the truth.
Yeah, Burns. So there you go. Now we didn't address a lot of FanDuel, and it's that one game that we missed. So I'm gonna say this. Yes. Like on FanDuel, include Christian Watson in your player pool. Include Aaron Rodgers, Aaron.
Yes.
In your player pool. They are going all out to ball. They need to win to get into playoff game for the Packers. Hold on.
Don't get my hopes up, man. Don't have a good time.
Detroit's actually really good against the run too. So
for FanDuel, I'm going Packers.
FanDuel just to attack that game. Like,
I'm going Packers green and yellow.
Man, you could almost game stack that game.
Yeah, like it's so much more fun. Love
that game. So yes, FanDuel did us a favor by including that game. Do not let them down. And as far as the running backs, I think it's, Aaron Jones is fine. I like AJ Dillon in that one as well. I think he's playable, but primarily it's your Christian Watson who's back in full health. You can play Aaron Rodgers. Fuck it. He hasn't passed 20 fantasy points. Doesn't matter. No one else. The Lions. You can play Goff, Amon-Ra. Go right back to those studs.
Jamal Williams.
Yep. Always in play.
Jamal is fine. So on FanDuel, I'm playing players from that game because the one thing we know about that game, going to the Packers hat, by the way, still label on it, like the kids. The kids don't take the label off. You ever see that, Josiah? You know what I'm talking about?
I didn't know that was a thing until like 5 years ago when I got a hat and I took it off and someone yelled at me for it.
Like, why are you taking the label off?
They're like, why are you taking it off? Like, oh, okay, sorry. Didn't know it was a big deal.
Gotta rock the look. So yeah, I like everybody from that game for the most part. Christian Watson's my guy. He's always my guy. Love Christian Watson. He seems healthy. They took him off the injury report. So he's going to be the guy. And why the hell didn't DraftKings include that damn game? Because they want to squeeze a little more money out of us
for
another showdown,
no matter
which
what.
they will. Totally going to work.
Yeah,
totally going to work. I'm going for it on that showdown. So, guys, this is it. Last week of the NFL regular season. We will be back for the showdowns for the playoffs. This isn't the end of tournament tactics. We've got incredible double 3-game slates 2 weeks in a row. I love those kind of slates. So we got a lot of DFS action still coming up the next few weeks, but we have a week to smash. We got to take this one down. I'm going to give the advice to be to go less heavy this week than you normally do.
Yeah.
Burns, you going less heavy?
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna go my normal.
We should have said this up front because people are already tuned out. Like, I didn't know you were supposed to go less heavy on week 18. Why didn't you say it in the beginning?
Yeah,
We're saving up for next week. Like once the playoffs start, then we can start playing heavy again because that's fun. But this week's a little bit of a crapshoot.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna play less heavy. Have been taking advantage of DK Sportsbook though, now that it's legal in Ohio. So
Jealous.
But yeah, go less heavy this week. If you play one particular contest, like I do, the Millie Maker, maybe play the Flea instead, or go lower number of entries in the Millie Maker. I mean, you don't have to max enter for sure.
Yeah. Be how would we put this? Be careful with how much you're putting in this week. There's a lot of situations that we talked about here that are like super fluid. Like we could full fade Dalvin Cook and he plays the whole game and goes crazy and he's weirdly 16% owned. And then like the field. So those situations, I don't want to have to target them. I'm just going to be a little bit more conservative with how much I put in. Let's face it, I probably won't be, but it should be. Probably won't be, but it should
do
be.
as I say, not as I do.
Do as I say, not as I do. Yeah.
I probably won't have many rules though. I'll probably have maybe that one rule QB legacy stack and then 30% across the board, and that's it.
You just let it rip.
Yeah, and see what comes about. So
makes sense. All right, let's wrap it up there, guys. Tournament tactics. Remember, if you're not subscribed, we need about 40 subscriptions. It's free. The subscription is free. The advice is priceless.
Nothing.
Costs nothing. But we need about 40 more to hit the 10K mark. Tell your friends. Come on back. We'll be back for the showdown for the next week's slates, of course, as usual. We'll have the playoffs. We'll get you covered. So stick around, guys. Great stuff today. Good luck this week, everybody. We will see you on top of the leaderboards. Take care, everyone.
Peace out.